Hello, everyone, and welcome to January 27th regular Town Council meeting of the Town of Vegreville. I call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Just so everybody knows, Councillor Wawa is again in on Cafaro, and Councillor Rudick won't be joining us today. So I'd like to get a motion for the adoption of the agenda. Councillor Curtis makes the motion. Is there any additions or deletions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Next up, I'd like to get a motion to adopt the minutes. Thank you, Councillor Wawa. Is there any errors or omissions within those minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, we're going to start off with some supplemental correspondence. First one is from the John S. Patouk Water Commission. Attention Sandra Ling, CAO. Regarding 2025 water rates. This year, the John S. Patouk Regional Water Commission was faced with a difficult set of options and relations to establishing the water rates for 2025. These options related to decisions made outside factors that relate to the rate, that is the change. For 2025, as per my message, January the 10th, 2025, the municipal members' rates will be 1.86 per cube, up from 1.66 per cube charged last year. In coming to its decision, the John S. Patouk Regional Water Commission received information that EPCOR would be increasing its water rates for the Capital Region Northeast Water Services Commission, who in turn would be increasing their rate to the Patouk. The rate change by the Northeast to Patouk is set to increase from 1.03 per cube to 1.39 per cube. The Northeast also indicated that they included in their fees a capital contribution to future capital reserves. This action is contrary to the current water supply agreement signed by the Patouk and the Northeast. The Patouk is therefore strenuously disagreeing with this unilaterally addition to the water rates and acting in opposition to it. The Patouk recognizes that our increase is not significant. To cover their increase, a review of reserve contributions along with budgeted operations should permit Patouk to financially complete 2025. A further review of our reserve contributions will be conducted in coordination with a rate study to assist in better understanding the potential impacts for 2026. And signed L. Harvey, Chair or the Manager of the John S. Patouk Water Commission. I'll take a motion to receive and file. Councillor Bullock makes the motion. Any comments? Since I am the rep on the board, I'll tell you when we first initially said that the municipal rate would be 1.86. We were taking the Northeast, what they said, and we told them flat out in our agreement there's no room for any capital rate charges for any capital they're doing or any capital reserves. But again, they see our water agreement in a whole different light than what it actually says, and it's been an ongoing fight for the last few years. So we're only paying them exactly what EPCOR is charging them, because in some of their correspondence they say, as you well know, you don't pay into a capital reserve or any capital projects. Well, we don't really know that. In their correspondence it says, as you well know, we've been asking them for 5 years to break down the water rate. What are you including? And they won't show us. And we know in the past that we've got them trying to put capital for projects that are down past our reservoir, in Gibbons and these other places on their line past our reservoir. So there is still a lawsuit with the Court of King's Bench that we've put on a hold right now, and we're about to finalize a date to take this to the Alberta Utilities Commission for a hearing, and their lawyers and our lawyers will be fighting it out. So hopefully Well, I'm hoping by this summer that we'll have some direction of which way we're going to go, because our water supply agreement runs out at the end of 2025. And it's a 20-year agreement that we had previous 20 years before that, exactly the same agreement, and everything was good. But all of a sudden, they decided that they were going to try to rip us off, the municipalities within the John S. Patuque, and we're really hoping that once the Utility Commission gets a look at the way we've operated, for a better part of 36 years, and the relationship that we've built based on our exactly the same water supply agreement, that they'll see that the direction they are going is against the law. So then hopefully we'll be able to get the money back that we've been overcharged. So anyway, that's what the situation is now. So if there's no more questions, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Your Worship. Next up, we have a letter from Megan Patterson, the Royal Alberta Museum Executive Director. And the letter reads, it's addressed to Councillor Barry. So it says, "Dear Mr. Barry, on behalf of the Royal Alberta Museum, I would like to thank you for your generous donation of artifacts that have been accessioned into the daily life and leisure, military and government history, and labor and industry collections. The reference number for your donation is H24.96, and our records will reflect your name as the originating donor. This acquisition is very much appreciated. It will assist us in preserving and interpreting important aspects of Alberta's history. Donations such as this also help ensure that our work at the museum fosters wonder, inquiry, and a new understanding about Alberta and its place in the world. If you have any questions, please contact Petra Richwin, the Collections Register." And it's yours truly, Megan Patterson, Executive Director.
Thank you. I'll take a motion to receive and file. Councillor Curtis makes a motion. Any comments? Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Your Worship. Just one small point of clarification. Although the letter has come to me, it was addressed to the town, care of myself, because I was handling the correspondence in terms of the collections that were going to the museum. So each place here where it appears that they're thanking me, they're actually thanking the town. And the aspect of when they're referring to the records will show the origin donor, that will be the town. I specified it very clearly when they asked the question, who is the donor, et cetera, that it was the town of Vegreville. So I appreciate the letter written the way it is, but it's actually addressed to the town and referring to the town and thanking the town. And I think it was very nice to receive this from the Executive Director. Thank you.
Thank you. And it's nice that those displays are everyday items in the museum today, and that's good. And I like the way the letter was written too. So again, good job, Councillor Barry and your team. Any more comments on the letter? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Next up, Director Saskew.
Thank you, Worship. I have a letter here from our Strategic Transportation Infrastructure Program, Community Airport Program, CAP. Thank you for your letter of November 12th, 2024, regarding grant funding for the runway overlay project at the Vegreville Airport under the Community Airport Program of the Strategic Transportation Infrastructure Program. Your proposed project has been entered into our grants database, and a copy has been forwarded to our central office for further assessment and review. The town of Vegreville will be notified once your project has been evaluated. Please note that if you begin construction prior to project approval, the project will no longer be eligible for grant funding. Please also note the secondary runway and taxiway are not eligible under the STIP CAP program, and the associated costs have been removed from the grant application. Please submit any updated project estimates to our office to update our records. Further information on the STIP program is available on the internet at www.transportation.alberta.ca. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact me. Sincerely, Dinette Lesk.
Thank you very much. Take a motion to receive and file. Councillor Berry makes the motion. Any comments? Go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
Just for clarification for the public, that the secondary runway is just the taxiway to the runway, actually?
Yeah, we refer to it as the taxiway and the apron.
Okay, thank you. Hopefully, we're successful.
Yeah, well, our portion goes way down too, so yes, it would be nice to be able to do that overlay, and then we could move on with some other paving projects in town, so. Any more comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, CEO Ling, you got the next one?
Well, thank you, Your Worship. Next up, we have a correspondence from Elk Island Public Schools addressed Dear Mayor Tim McPhee. Elk Island Public School trustees are committed to working closely with stakeholders in the areas we represent to serve the best interests of our students and reflect the voices of our constituents. It is our goal to ensure students throughout the division have access to the highest quality educational experience possible and to prepare them to contribute meaningfully in building successful, sustainable communities throughout our province. As a public school division, EIPS establishes its annual education results, AERR, to account for the resources the Government of Alberta invests in public education and to demonstrate its achievements as it provides a world-class education to the students we serve. The report addresses results achieved and progress made by the division relative to each priority, goal, and outcome throughout the 2023-2024 school year. The division then uses the data and results listed in the AERR to guide future decisions, focus areas, and priority strategies. The goal, to support a cycle of continuous growth to improve outcomes across all schools systematically. We have enclosed a copy of the report and overview for your reference. You can also find it online at our website. If you have any questions about the information contained therein or would like to meet to discuss how the EIPS Board of Trustees might be able to collaborate with you or help our communities grow and thrive, please feel free to reach out to me directly. Sincerely, Kathy Allen, Board Chair of Elk Island Public Schools. And the report, they did send a paper copy of the report, and it's on file in the vault if anybody wishes to see it.
Okay, thank you. I'll take a motion to receive and file this. Councillor Lemko makes the motion. Any comments? Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Next up, we have a letter from the Mayor of Tofield.
Thank you, Your Worship. So this letter from Mayor Dewick is regarding the Regional Recreation Feasibility Study Steering Committee. This is addressed to Mayor McPhee. Dear Sir, I am pleased to advise the Council of the Town of Tofield at the regular meeting held on January 13, 2025, appointed Jeff Edwards, Assistant CAO, to represent the Town of Tofield on the Regional Recreation Feasibility Study Steering Committee. Thank you for your invitation to participate. Sincerely, Deb Dewick, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Take a motion to receive and file on that one. Councillor Berry makes the motion. Any comments? Well, more the merrier. Go ahead, Councillor Warba.
I was just wondering on that, we have some neighboring municipalities that had at the previous time we discussed this, not provided a rep. One of them, of course, being Lamont County. I'm just wondering if there's been any change. And I guess I would say a thank you to Tofield for recognizing that a lot of people in the area are using our facilities already and that there needs to be collaboration. So I appreciate that on Tofield's side. And I just was wanting to check on those others to see if we've had a representative.
The mayor of Mundare, Cheryl, had indicated that she thought there would be some interest from other municipalities within the county of Lamont. We know that, people, citizens of Andrew and Lamont, and lots of people from the county of Lamont use our facilities. But she said she was going to reach out to them. We haven't heard too much from there. I know that I've asked the county twice if they would send somebody. And again, they don't feel it's important to them, even though that their residents are using it, our facilities. And what the future facilities would look like and how it would enhance, you know, the enjoyment of their own residents, they feel that it's not important. And again, I get the feeling that a lot of the counties, they just feel like the recreation, they don't want to pay a dime. They don't want to be in a conversation about it. I mean, luckily, our county, the county of Minburn, has been on board. We had the county of Two Hills sent the Reeve, and he came to one meeting, but they seem a little disinterested. The county of Beaver has been to most of our meetings. And again, you just can't, you can't drag these people. You know, some people just don't see, you know, quality of life being meaningful to their residents, I guess. And, you know, just stick your head in the sand is probably the best approach when it comes to dealing with these things. So, if I didn't offend anybody. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Yeah, there we go. Okay, next up, financial statement, Director Saskew.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have here the monthly cash statement for the month ended December 31st, 2024. We began the month with a total value of cash of $4,739,482, and we ended the month with $4,129,039. So that is a net decrease of $610,494. Major sources of cash for the month that were out of the ordinary was our $345,000 policing grant. So we did receive funds for our police officers grant and the policing grant. So that was nice to see. Always receive that at the end of December. Major uses of cash for the month was $59,000 for some construction project, debenture repayments of $205,083, and education requisition, so that's Elk Island Public and Catholic, of $496,107.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's a big ouch. And if there are no other questions, that is my cash statement for the month of December.
I'll take a motion to accept it. Councilor Curtis makes the motion. Any comments? Go ahead. Councilor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. Director Saskew, I know that you usually don't refer to small amounts of cash received and et cetera, but I would like to let council know that a small loan that was given to the Vegreville minor soccer that they've been paying off in increments, I believe they paid the last of that and cleared that in December.
Correct. That is actually a great point.
So they have actually fulfilled their commitments now and paid that back off completely.
Yes, I actually made a mental note to include that in my statement when I saw that that had been received. But yes, it is the balance with the Vegreville Minor Soccer Club right now is $0 for receivables now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to work. Exactly. Very good job on them, and they've done a great job with that facility out there too. So, again, nice to see nonprofits and come through with what they said and working together with us. And again, it's just another benefit for the whole community. So. Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next up, we have a bylaw. Who's doing the bylaw?
Sorry about that. I have a bylaw for you all. So this is the derelict and vacant property assessment subclass. I am just opening it. So this bylaw is the bylaw number 01-2025 of the town of Vegreville in the province of Alberta for the purpose of regulating vacant and derelict residential and vacant non-residential property assessment subclass within the town of Vegreville. Whereas the Council of the Town of Vegreville deems it necessary and desirable to establish a bylaw for subclasses for both vacant and derelict residential and vacant non-residential classes to manage vacant and or derelict properties within municipal limits. And whereas pursuant to Section 297(2) of the Municipal Government Act, RSA 2000, Chapter M26, as amended, Council may by bylaw divide Class 1 residential into subclasses on any basis it considers appropriate, and whereas pursuant to Section 297 2.1 of the Municipal Government Act, RSA 2000, Chapter M26, as amended, Council may by bylaw divide two Class 2 non-residential into subclasses prescribed by regulations. And whereas pursuant to Section 354 of the Municipal Government Act, RSA 2000, Chapter M26, as amended, allows the tax rate to be different for each assessment class or subclass referred to in Section 297. Now therefore, the Municipal Council of the Town of Vegreville in the Province of Alberta duly assembled and acts as follows. So short title, this bylaw may be cited as the derelict and vacant property assessment subclass bylaw. The purpose of this bylaw is to encourage the development or revitalization of vacant and derelict residential properties in the Town of Vegreville for general benefit of the municipality, and encourage the development or revitalization of vacant non-residential properties in the Town of Vegreville for general benefit of the municipality. There's definitions here. Do we want to go through all of them? Assessor mean?
That's fine.
Okay, perfect. Responsibilities. The assessor is authorized to create and establish a residential property assessment subclass categorized as derelict residential, a residential property assessment subclass categorized as vacant residential, and a non-residential property assessment subclass categorized as vacant non-residential. Assessor shall abide by the responsibilities, standards, and criteria contained within the Town of Vegreville Policy FIN 6011 in the annual establishment of which property shall be deemed within the residential property assessment subclass categorized as derelict residential, residential property assessment subclass categorized as vacant residential, and the non-residential property assessment subclass categorized as vacant non-residential. And this bylaw shall come into force and effect on the date of the final passing thereof.
Okay. Do we have to have first reading before we can have any conversation about this?
I believe so, and we will bring the policy to the next legislative meeting if first reading goes through.
So I'll be looking for a motion. Councillor Barry makes the motion for the first reading on this new bylaw. So we have a motion on the floor. So my point would be, at what time are we going to set the tax rate on these?
That is set at the tax rate bylaw. So that will be annually. So this year, it's too late to include this for the 2024 assessment for purposes of 2025 taxes coming out in May. So this, if we pass this now, the assessors will take these properties into account when they do their July assessment of the properties for 2025, which are used in 2026 property tax assessment and tax notices.
And when does the 2-year period start?
Do we have a 2-year period on this one?
The 2-year period of it being vacant, that would start from when the bylaw is passed. So we can go back to 2 years.
When this bylaw comes into effect for 2026, January 1, we'll wait 2 years before we can enact any portion of this bylaw?
No, it can go on as long as the property has been vacant for the prior 2 years of enacting this bylaw. It can take those, it would be included.
Okay. And the derelict properties are fairly easily.
The derelict properties are fairly easy, yes.
Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Worship. Yes, I was just going to point out, there's a lot of importance to having the policy, because the policy will give a lot more direction. And that's why I noted there is that a lot of the vacant non-residential properties will already qualify because they've been in that state for quite a few years. I just want to thank administration for the work that they've put on this. It has changed over time and been brought to be a much better bylaw right now than when we first started having our workshops on it. And I think that it was very important for you to go through and keep looking at different aspects of it and refining it and bringing it down to a nice clean bylaw that is supported by policy. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Go ahead, Councillor Bullock.
And just want everybody to realize of all the hard work that went into it, that administration put into this. And for everybody to realize this really is for the betterment of the community. So we're looking to have a more attractive community and spur more development.
So after the first reading, we will have an open house, where how will we get the message out to our community? Not necessary.
No. No, I had asked our legislative administrator to double check my research with the MGA as well. This bylaw does not need to be advertised. We do not need to have a public open house. So by having first reading tonight, we can put out information, just like we did with the first reading on the water, the utility bylaw that is still sitting with first reading. So we can put this out, we can put it out put it on our website so people can see and take a look at it if that's what council wishes, and read through it and send us their comments.
Okay, well, we definitely want to have the community involved and to hear what they're saying before this bylaw goes into effect, for sure. Maybe we would take it to one of the talk of the town and get some information out that way. I mean, I know that we can do all the advertising that we possibly can, and other than going door to door and having conversations with every individual, and we know that people are gonna say they never heard about it when it happens. But I want to make sure, and I'm sure council does, that we are trying our best to engage citizens on why this bylaw is being put in, and that it's a good thing for our community, and it cleans up a lot of lots. And we're looking at a lot of property that in our community that's just sitting there, that's not contributing whatsoever to any flood mitigation, to the sewer, to the infrastructure. They are just sitting there being taxed as an empty lot when they should be actually on a utility bill. So if we're going to say that after the first reading, we are going to spend some time and try to educate the public on what the necessity is for this bylaw, and if we take it, I know we don't have to have an open house, but I'm sure that we'd all feel a lot more comfortable that if we had got the community engaged in this conversation. I know some people have watched our last meeting and have got a hold of me, and I'm very, very happy that we're doing this, because they feel that there's oil companies that have walked away from property in this town are not contributing other than the $600 or $700 a year on their lot. So go ahead, Director Saskew.
I think those are really good points, as well as us bringing to the next legislative meeting a memo with the policy again. So there was comments at the last meeting about what if a property is vacant and it's residential, it's not incorporated into another lot, but it's a vacant property in between two lots that has odd easements or walking paths through it. Like, we had already talked about that on administration side, to put in a clause saying that, like, we can elect to not include those if they have an irregular property size that would be hard to put a house or a different structure on. So those are things that we are taking into consideration, and we will bring back at the ledge meeting. So once we, with council, iron out the rules and regulations of the policy, I think that's a good time for us to take that out to the public, right? So right now, if we advertise it today and somebody may have that exact same question, we actually haven't brought that forth before council at this point in time, what our updated ideas are for those questions.
That's good. Okay, go ahead, Councillor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think one point that is fairly important is when these are sitting vacant, especially the non-commercial ones, but when they're sitting vacant, they get lower tax because their assessment is lower. And then there's no incentive of them to redevelop. So the aspect is, as part of this, is to take those that are, where there's no incentive to redevelop and put it back into a good property with good taxes on it. It actually means that the rest of the community is subsidizing them because they're sitting there just not paying their full amount on what taxes would be if the property was developed. So this is what we're trying to encourage, is to encourage them to redevelop, to upgrade, and to bring it back into production.
Okay, and for all this to work, we need our assessor to be on board and be bringing this information back to us on the different classes. Okay, well, there's no more conversation. We'll take a vote on the first reading. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're gonna move on to council reports. And we're gonna start with Councilor Rawa.
Well, thank you, Your Worship. I don't have a lot. I only had one meeting. Unfortunately, I have been away in Ottawa for about 9 days now, but I have been at the legislative meeting on the 21st in tonight's council. Over and above that, I had an additional chamber meeting. I don't have a lot of more updates. That was in between my legislative ones, so we haven't met to discuss some of the 50th anniversary stuff that we had discussed at the last legislative. So I will get you guys some updates for there. That one there kind of came just before the last meeting, so it was just a bit of an update. So that's all I got.
Okay, thank you very much, and you'll be flying back home tomorrow, I hear.
Yeah, back home tomorrow, and we have a number of meetings set up, including have put forward names as was requested for the library board meeting, and we'll make sure all those are happening. So those are good to go.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
Councilor Barry.
Thank you, Your Worship. Actually, over the last couple of weeks, I haven't had any meetings except the ledge meeting and this regular council meeting. Most of my other meetings really get kicked off and get going in February, but I've also been staying at home basically just recovering from my surgery. And although I will need reading glasses, I can safely say I can see clearly now, just like the song.
I see.
I see. Thank you.
Councilor Bullock.
Thank you, Your Worship. So on January 14th, we had ad hoc transportation committee meeting. So we went through our terms of reference. We discussed some of our successes that we had, and our successes that we had really were the businesses that opened up to cure a problem that one of the problems that we had. As for other transportation where it doesn't involve seniors, haven't seen much change in that besides just the walkability of our community. So more work going into that. We reviewed our terms of reference, and we'll continue. We move to quarterly meetings, hoping some ideas get spurred in the community, but I think we're drawing close to about all we can do.
Okay. Well, it's nice to see these other businesses start up, and we've heard nothing but good things in town about it. And I don't know how much more your ad hoc committee, what the next steps would be, and I know hopefully Alberta Health is taking advantage of some of the new opportunities within town and the focus groups. So.
Yeah. And that they have. I know Maple Wagon has been quite active with medical transfers and stuff like that as well. So on January 15th, we had a Community Futures meeting. So that was the first time we sat in a couple months. So and there was some interesting discussion in the area from cooperatives, different businesses maybe doing cooperatives together to try and, have more of a bunch of them together to have a little more strength in numbers, so to speak. I mentioned possibly about a company called Bungie, so a canola pressing company and stuff like that, and words about Viterra and that all in the same conversation. So that'll be interesting to see what develops. Talked about some of the successes in Murnum actually has been seeing with they're doing some interesting thing with commercial lots as well, trying to spur development in that area. And another business, an existing business that was taken over by somebody else, will be continuing just with the help of Community Future. So that's a really good thing as well. Just like to tell everybody that's, considering being an entrepreneur, or if you're interested and just want some information, look to Community Future's website. Lots of good information there, and they can help you along with your ideas. Then on January 21st, a legislative committee meeting, and tonight's town council meeting for me.
Thank you very much. Councilor Lemko.
Thanks, Your Worship. Light schedule. January 15th, Cultural Association meeting. On the 16th, I had a Teams meeting with MLA Homniuk discussing the Minburn Foundation Homestead Lodge, some of the concerns we have there with some of our residents that are requiring a higher level of care and unable to be relocated. So I did talk to her about that, and also the upcoming proposal for a new lodge expansion. So she's well aware of where we are, and we hope to get some answers back from her. January 17th, the MD of Minburn Building Committee meeting, the finalizing of our report for submission. 21st, ledge meeting, and tonight's council meeting, Your Worship. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Curtis.
Thank you. January 21st, ledge meeting, and then tonight, the 27th, our FCSS meeting, which was a meeting and a holiday party. We had changed our holiday party due to some scheduling conflicts, so we finally get it in today. But some of the things coming up for FCSS are they're looking for volunteers for the Family Day on February 17th. They want some people to help bus tables and to speak to some of the residents that are coming. So they're looking for any volunteers that want to help. I think there's going to be some volunteers from our committee, but they're just throwing it out if there's any other volunteers in the community that might want to come and help bus some tables. They're ready to announce that they've received the community counseling grant, which is funded by Recovery Alberta. I think CEO Ling may have spoke about this the other week, but they're just in the process of looking for a full-time counselor, but that's good that we're having this. I think it's over $100,000 for 2 years, each year. So it should be able to keep it going for the minimum of 2 years and see how that works. So that's a great thing to have coming to the community. They also received an extension on the crisis intervention grant funding. So that supports individuals and families fleeing abuse, which they had for 1 year. I think it was just over $20,000. So they've gotten that again. Also applied for the Alberta Crime Prevention Grant to support youth and mental health. And the CARES Coalition is also applying for the Rural Mental Health Grant to support mental health for parents, infants, school-age children, seniors, and newcomers. So you can kind of see the trend here. We've already spoke a lot about mental health being a priority in the community, so the FCSS has really taken charge here, and some other groups in the community to try and get some support, which is great. As well, coming up for tax season, they'll be having Service Canada come out after the income tax season, help folks with their CPP and any other federal subsidies they may be applying for, and also help them set up their Service Canada account online. So this is an additional service from them coming out on every Thursday of the month during tax season, so this will be afterwards. If they need more information, please give FCSS a call. And as well, they'll have the Soaring Grant again this year, and they're recruiting people to work on community projects. And tonight's council meeting.
Okay. Thank you very much. So on January the 14th, I was invited to meet the new CAO, actually the interim CAO of Alberta Innovates, Mike Mahan, and Steve McMahon, the CAO of Alberta Innotech, was there and was here in Vegreville. It was a very good meeting, and they have a bit of a change in directions with Alberta Innovates, and they're actually going to start taking credit for some of the good work they do, and hopefully they can find a way, because it's a gem in our province. And I mean, they take good ideas of local entrepreneurs and businesses, and they take them to the next step. And I don't know any other province or any state there that does what the Alberta Innovates does, and it's quite a good operation. It's funded by the province of Alberta, and of course we have Alberta Innotech right here in town, and they're directly involved with a shoot off of Alberta Innovates. We had the ledge meeting on the 21st. On the 22nd, I had a meeting with Crossroads Economic Alliance meeting. We were just going through the report that should be out here pretty soon. I think in the next couple of weeks. They're going to try to condense it down into 10 to 15 pages. And it's the business study that was done in the county, the town, Innisfree, and Manville, plus the one that was done with individuals and residents and stuff too. So there's a lot of good information in there. Hopefully, when they summarize it all, they'll catch most of it, but it's very good, and it's been a very successful working with the county and these other municipalities, and just taking a regional approach and how we can all benefit. So it's been working out very well. On the 23rd, I had Alberta Hub a board meeting. We're getting ready for our regular meeting coming up, and we're looking at a survey that was sent out to all Hub members about what does Hub look like when the provincial funding runs out. This year, with our membership, we stayed on par. Next year, it's cut in half, and the year after that, it's cut in half, and the year after that, there's none left. So we're just trying to figure out where municipalities will be. Will they still be on board with Hub? Do they see, a purpose with Hub? Do they think that, are they appreciating what it brings to them? So it should be interesting as we move forward there. On the 23rd in the afternoon, I ran into Edmonton and had a meeting with AJN, the panel business that's going to be setting up their business here in the Prosperity Park. I went to their Edmonton office, and we had a very good conversation. They just came back from China. They have ordered their building. They would hope towards the end of March is when they'd like to break ground, and the equipment should be about a month and a half behind that. So hopefully our electrical and gas and their shallows will be in by then, and they'll be the first ones out there, and hopefully there'll be many more after that. On the 24th, I attended the Fish Fry at Vantage Builders, and it was a celebration of 50 years that Vantage has been in business in the town of Vegreville, and they had the original ownership group there and all the new partners, and it was well attended, and they had a big cake, so good on them. They've been a big part of our community for a long time, 50 years, and congratulations to them. Oh yeah, I had the Ledge meeting there too. On Saturday, I was at the social center to attend a funeral of a local resident, Jerry Tuck, who had passed away. And I must say that the social center was full. And is a very well-respected member of the bigger community of Vegreville in this area, and a volunteer. And it was kind of funny, the pastor brought up the fact that Jerry didn't want to have a funeral, and she was telling Wayne that she didn't, and going on about it, and Wayne had to finally tell her, you know what, Jerry, it's not for you, it's for everybody else, okay? So then she reluctantly said, okay, go ahead, you can have one. So. But, yeah, the family did a very good job, and there was a lot of very nice pictures that rolled by there. So, and tonight's council meeting, and that's my report. So is there any other business of council? Seeing none, I would take a motion to go into closed session. Councilor Curtis makes the motion at 7:44. All those in favor? Carried.